Within the darkness of the night, a flying boat rapidly departed from the eastern gate of Huyang City. Luo Feng looked toward the northeast. Through the karmic tracing order, he could continuously lock onto Shui Yun's distant location. Brother Shang, I never expected that in the end, we would join forces in this way to pursue and kill that Shui Yun. Luo Feng looked at the karmic tracing order in his hand. The flying boat pierced through the void and sped toward the northeast. After leaving Huyang City, Divine Monarch Shui Yun leisurely traveled through the void while reflecting on his philosophy of cultivation. He looked down upon those who sympathized with the weak, considering Shang Tianyan a fool for risking his life for others. In his eyes, a true peerless powerhouse had to be cold and ruthless, willing to sacrifice anything, including billions of lives or even loved ones, for the sake of their own cultivation path. To reach the level of a primal chaos overlord among countless forces and geniuses, one needed absolute determination and the resolve to endure what others could not. Although Shui Yun felt some regret regarding Shang Tianyan, he ultimately despised such emotional attachments. He believed himself to be the true elite among cultivators. After learning that Yushin Shu and Yushin Yi had been killed, he was only cautious about the possibility of a primal chaos overlord being involved. Since his own strength had already been exposed, he decided to stop hiding and instead pursue greater resources. Understanding that while survival was the foundation of reaching the primal chaos realm, his circumstances no longer allowed him to remain low profile. At the same time, Luo Feng pursued him aboard his flying boat using the mechanical flow secret treasure. The Myriad Realms Escape Command. Outside Huyang City, where there was no formation suppressing spacetime, the treasure allowed extremely fast void traversal, enabling Luo Feng to keep up with Shui Yun's escape toward Shi Kingdom. Morosa questioned whether Shui Yun intended to flee back to Shi Kingdom, and Luo Feng acknowledged his opponent's extreme caution and terrifying abilities. Although Shui Yun's godly body was not particularly powerful, his combat strength was comparable to General Yang, proving his realm and comprehension were exceptionally high. Therefore, Luo Feng planned carefully, having Morosa disguise himself as a strand of primal chaos current hidden within the primal chaos domain. He instructed Morosa to wait until Shui Yun was driven into a desperate situation before delivering the decisive attack. Luo Feng understood that against such a cautious enemy, no amount of preparation was excessive, and he was determined to kill Shui Yun. While continuing his escape, Shui Yun believed that although his identity had been exposed and traces left behind in Huyang City could be used for heavenly secret deductions, his constant movement would make repeated calculations too costly for his enemies. However, his expression changed when Luo Feng suddenly appeared before him in the void. His 12 golden wings spread as the vast primal chaos domain enveloped the surroundings. Seeing Luo Feng, Shui Yun immediately understood that Luo Feng had been the one who killed Yushin Shu and Yushin Yi. He speculated that Luo Feng had tracked him through cause and effect, possibly because of a flaw related to Shang Tianyan, whose artifact refining abilities had surpassed his expectations. Luo Feng questioned how Shui Yun could kill Shang Tianyan so mercilessly despite their apparent closeness over more than 20 years. Shui Yun calmly replied that anyone who obstructed his cultivation path deserved death and that emotions could never influence him. He also stated that he hoped Luo Feng was powerful enough to provide him with pressure and become a stepping stone toward reaching the primal chaos realm. Luo Feng responded by releasing the Life-Blood River, attempting to suppress Shui Yun with his mechanical flow treasure. Shui Yun dismissed the technique as crude and immediately transformed into endless blood waves, forming the Blood Cloud Great Array. This formation integrated all the primal chaos realm moves he had comprehended and was powerful enough to resist both the Life-Blood River and the suppressive effects of the primal chaos domain. The Blood Cloud Great Array displayed frightening mysteries. Although its raw power was only slightly stronger than the Life-Blood River, it transformed into blood mist that could infiltrate Luo Feng's defenses. The law toxins within it could kill weaker godly bodies instantly. Luo Feng activated the body refining method, Duan Mie, burning divine power and greatly increasing his physical strength, successfully resisting the poisonous corrosion. Shui Yun was surprised that Luo Feng possessed an unlimited godly body, but he considered it normal for someone who dared hunt him. Luo Feng, however, considered the Blood Cloud Great Array's power only average and unleashed a devastating slash with the Blood Shadow Knife. The blade light was so powerful that it tore open space itself and split the blood cloud great array, annihilating portions of the blood waves. The display shocked Shui Yun. He realized Luo Feng's primal Chaos Realm blade techniques focused purely on destructive power and, combined with his unlimited godly body, allowed him to cut through space with a single strike. He became even more excited, believing Luo Feng to be stronger than General Yang. The blood cloud great array quickly restored itself and created 3 powerful blood swords filled with countless secret patterns. Luo Feng cut through them with 3 blade strikes, but the swords disappeared into the blood waves and reappeared behind him, stabbing directly into his back. They broke through his 10 directions infinite blade force and caused 3 wounds, but only barely pierced his skin before the injuries instantly healed. For the first time, Shui Yun was truly shocked. Luo Feng's blade techniques were already terrifying, yet his godly body's defense was even more unbelievable. Even other unlimited godly bodies such as General Yang or Yushin Shu had never been this durable. Shui Yun deduced that Luo Feng must have cultivated an emperor-level body refining method and possessed a primal Chaos Realm defensive blade technique. Although Luo Feng also found the blood cloud great array troublesome due to its strange and elusive nature, he decided to overwhelm it with absolute power. With a roar, his godly body suddenly expanded 1 billion times, becoming a colossal divine giant trillions of kilometers tall. Mountains only reached his toes, and even Huyang City would appear tiny before him. Shui Yun was horrified because such a gigantic size required an unimaginable level of body refinement to withstand the compression of the world. Although Luo Feng could still become larger, he considered his current size sufficient. From his perspective, the vast blood cloud great array looked like a small puddle, limited by the size of Shui Yun's own godly body. Luo Feng then burned his divine power to the maximum limit through the Duan Mie technique. Maintaining such a gigantic body already consumed divine power rapidly, and his full-powered burning consumed approximately 1/10,000th of his divine power reserve with every breath, increasing his strength several times over. Entering his most ferocious state, Luo Feng unleashed the technique, Heaven Split in 5 directions, and stomped downward. His 5 toes resembled enormous pillars and his soul was like an infinite world crushing toward the tiny blood cloud great array. Faced with this overwhelming attack, the terrified Shui Yun immediately merged the entire blood cloud great array into the earth and fled deep underground using his greatest specialty, the earth escape technique. However, Luo Feng's single stomp still carried unimaginable destructive force. Even the incredibly stable land of origin was crushed, leaving behind a footprint 100 trillion kilometers deep, reaching beyond Luo Feng's ankle. Luo Feng unleashed a terrifying stomp with his gigantic godly body, covering an unimaginably vast area with the power of the primal chaos domain. Divine Monarch Shui Yun attempted to escape using the earth escape technique, but the domain greatly suppressed his speed. Even after the blood cloud great array descended tens of billions of kilometers underground, it remained completely covered by Luo Feng's enormous foot. The terrifying impact crushed the great array, penetrated hundreds of billions of kilometers into the earth, and annihilated most of Shui Yun's blood mist, leaving him with less than 20% of his godly body remaining. Although heavily injured, Shui Yun's astonishing life-preserving ability allowed him to reform his body from traces of blood mist. However, he was completely terrified, realizing that a single attack from Luo Feng had nearly killed him. Having sacrificed everything throughout countless years of cultivation for the sake of becoming stronger, Shui Yun valued his own life above all else. He was unwilling to die before reaching the true peak and immediately continued escaping deeper underground. Luo Feng reduced his colossal body to 200 billion kilometers and pursued him using the Myriad Realms Escape Command's Void Escape technique, which was even more profound than the Earth Escape technique because all things, including Earth, mountains, and rivers, existed within the void, carrying the primal chaos current with him. Luo Feng continuously teleported through the underground while ordering Morosa to prepare for a surprise attack at any moment. As the chase continued, Luo Feng repeatedly unleashed the Heaven Split in 5 directions blade with his palms, each finger acting like a destructive divine blade. His enormous hands tore through endless layers of earth and stone, leaving black spatial cracks wherever they passed. The attacks covered such a vast area that no matter how strange Shui Yun's blood mist transformations were or how skilled his escape methods became, He could only endure Luo Feng's relentless attacks. Shui Yun relied on his secret ability, Earth Rebirth, allowing him to continuously absorb power from the earth and restore his damaged godly body. However, Luo Feng's attacks destroyed his divine power faster than he could recover it. For the first time, Shui Yun truly understood the terrifying strength of an unlimited godly body when its advantages of immense size and enormous divine power reserves were pushed to their limits. Even so, he remained calm and patiently searched for a chance to survive. As both of them descended further underground, the pressure from the earth became increasingly terrifying, forcing Luo Feng to continually shrink his body and his attack range. At that critical moment, Shui Yun burned his remaining divine power without hesitation, transforming his blood-mist body into a dazzling streak of bloodlight and reaching an unprecedented escape speed. Luo Feng immediately sensed that Shui Yun was making a desperate attempt to flee and ordered Morosa to strike. Following Luo Feng's arrangement, Morosa had already hidden himself deep underground along Shui Yun's escape route. When Shui Yun rushed forward, he suddenly encountered an enormous dark mouth resembling a bottomless abyss. The terrifying devouring force pulled him in, and Morosa instantly closed his mouth, seemingly trapping him completely. Facing death for the first time in countless years, Shui Yun's desire to live reached its absolute limit. Under this extreme pressure between life and death, his bloodline finally underwent a miraculous transformation. He comprehended the complete law of primal chaos and stepped onto the threshold of the primal chaos realm. Using his newly awakened bloodline ability to traverse chaos, he instantly escaped from inside Morosa's sealed mouth. Having survived the impossible, Shui Yun was overwhelmed with excitement. He realized that all his endless years of hiding, sacrificing, and pursuing power had finally borne fruit. Although his divine power remained weak and his small universe and godly body had not yet transformed completely. Simply mastering the law of primal chaos allowed him to create profound techniques effortlessly. He decided not to fight Luo Feng immediately and planned to retreat, complete his transformation, stabilize his new realm, and later return to settle the life and death grudge. However, before he could truly escape, his consciousness encountered Luo Feng's eyes. In an instant, his perception of the outside world disappeared, and only those terrifying eyes remained within his spiritual world. Luo Feng had finally used the supreme will technique, the Lai Yuan technique. With his will already at the peak primal chaos overlord level and empowered by this mysterious technique from the land of origin, Luo Feng completely overwhelmed Shui Yun, whose will had only just reached the primal chaos dominator level. The clash ended instantly, with Shui Yun's consciousness being completely erased without any ability to resist. His escaping blood light returned to his true body, leaving behind a corpse with an intact true god's heart but no remaining consciousness. Luo Feng arrived beside the corpse and admitted that Shui Yun had forced him to reveal the Lai Yuan technique, something he was reluctant to use because its origin was extremely extraordinary and could potentially draw the attention of ancient existences. He also did not wish to rely excessively on will techniques, since the true foundation of cultivation still lay in comprehending the laws. Morosa arrived beside the corpse and was shocked by the powerful attraction he felt from Shui Yun's body, which had become even more valuable than Yu Tianshu's corpse due to the final bloodline transformation. Luo Feng promised to give the corpse to Morosa after first removing the true god's heart, ensuring that when he handed over the body to claim the bounty, the Flame Wind Pavilion would not discover the unusual circumstances surrounding Shui Yun's death. After collecting the corpse, Luo Feng and Morosa returned to the surface through the void. Luo Feng erased the gigantic footprint left by his previous attack and looked up at the endless starry sky. He remarked that with Shui Yun's death, one of the countless stars in the universe had fallen, but such an ordinary star disappearing would never attract attention. Morosa agreed, saying that countless stars were born and extinguished every moment, and only the brightest ones were remembered, reminding both of them that despite their strength, they were still far from the true peak. Finally, Luo Feng put away the karmic tracing order. Satisfied that he had not failed Brother Sheng's expectations, he boarded the flying boat together with Morosa and traveled through the void, returning to Huyang City after completely ending the existence of divine monarch Shui Yun. Before Luo Feng returned to Huyang City, the news of divine monarch Shui Yun's assassination had already spread throughout the city. All clients of the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall received confirmation that the assassination mission on Shui Yun had been successfully completed. Inside the city lord's mansion, Mo Li Meng, Wu Kulu, and the others were deeply shocked. Although they had anticipated the possibility, they still found it difficult to believe that Luo He had truly killed Shui Yun. The lord of Huyang City felt fortunate that they had not previously acted against Luo He. While General Yang admitted that Luo He's strength surpassed his own and that among all eternal true gods in the Yu Kingdom, only a few could match him, with none currently exceeding him, the leaders of the 5 great families were especially shaken. Their family branches held limited status compared to the true core clans. And a figure like Luo He, who stood among the strongest eternal true gods in the entire Yu Kingdom, was a level of existence valued directly by godly kings. Even General Yang, who had fought Shui Yun before, could not understand how Luo He had managed to kill someone whose realm was so high. Realizing Luo He's importance, the lord of Huyang City, General Yang, Mo Li Meng, and the leaders of the 5 great families immediately traveled to the East City Gate to personally welcome him. Meanwhile, the eternal true gods throughout Huyang City were astonished. In a single night, Yushin Shu, Yushin Yi, and divine monarch Shui Yun, 3 powerful enemies with enormous bounties, had all been killed. The fact that the 10 million cosmic sand reward for Shui Yun had worked convinced everyone that a terrifying expert was hidden within Huyang City, and they resolved to act much more cautiously in the future. Within the Heavenly Flame sect, disciples who had been mourning their inability to resist Shui Yun and grieving their fallen comrades were suddenly overwhelmed with joy upon hearing the news of his death. They celebrated that their master and fellow disciples had finally been avenged. Uncle Chu was moved to tears, knowing that the sect leader's sacrifice had not been in vain. Elsewhere, the Dream Flower Tower master sat alone with complicated emotions. In a single night, both Shang Tianyan and Sang Shuiyan, 2 men who had been deeply devoted to her, had died. Soon afterward, Luo Feng and Morosa arrived outside Huyang City's East Gate. The 7 representatives of the city lord's side warmly welcomed him. The lord of Huyang City praised him for eliminating the 2 members of the 5 gods of Yushin and divine monarch Shui Yun, thereby resolving a major threat to the city. Luo Feng explained that he had only succeeded because of the karmic tracing order left behind by brother Shang. Otherwise Shui Yun would have escaped into Shi Kingdom. Mo Li Xiao added that Shui Yun had hidden his true strength and immediately attempted to seek protection after exposing himself, making Luo He's successful pursuit even more remarkable. General Yang declared that his mission was complete and promised to report Luo He's achievements to the godly king of Yu Kingdom. The lord of Huyang City also stated that he had already informed the Marquis of Zhujiang and believed that Luo He would receive a great reward. Luo Feng accepted their goodwill, as he currently needed all possible resources to strengthen himself. The former conflict involving Mei Wu Qi was completely ignored by the Mei Wu family and the Wu royal family because they understood that someone of Luo He's level possessed far greater value than all their family branches combined. When one's strength reached a certain level, even old grudges had to be swallowed. Within his cultivation chamber in Zhujiang City, the Marquis of Zhujiang was also paying close attention to the matter. As a primal chaos overlord, he understood the strategic importance of Luo He's appearance, especially with Marquis Lu Yin of Shi Kingdom constantly pressuring his territory and Huyang City likely being the first target of invasion. The Marquis of Zhujiang decided to reward Luo He generously and report his accomplishments to the monarch of Yu Kingdom. He understood that only a godly king possessed the resources and heritage capable of truly attracting a genius of Luo He's level. So he intended to earn Luo He's goodwill through his recommendation. The Marquis then contacted the monarch of Yu Kingdom, the founder of the Yu Kingdom and a terrifying existence respected throughout the entire land of origin. He respectfully introduced Luo He as a remarkable young talent who had appeared within his territory. Unaware of these events, Luo Feng and Morosa arrived at the Flame Wind Pavilion. The deputy pavilion master and the pavilion master personally received him and asked for proof of Shui Yun's death. Luo Feng produced Shui Yun's corpse, revealing the missing true god's heart and causing the 2 experienced experts from the Emperor Chu lineage of the Flame Wind ancient country to speculate that Luo He possessed a powerful void-class killing technique capable of directly taking the heart. The deputy pavilion master then handed over the prepared rewards, including the bounties for Yushin Shu and Yushin Yi, totaling 13 million cosmic sand, After receiving the enormous fortune, Luo Feng felt much more confident about his future cultivation expenses. As he prepared to leave, the master of the Flame Wind Pavilion introduced himself as Emperor Chu Yu from the Emperor Chu lineage of the Flame Wind ancient country. Luo Feng immediately recognized the significance of this identity. As with the inheritances of two great lineages, he clearly understood the extraordinary status and power represented by the Emperor Chu lineage of the Flame Wind ancient country. In the vast land of origin, countless forces existed, and establishing a divine kingdom was already an extraordinary achievement. The strengths of these nations varied greatly. Countries like Yu Kingdom and Shi Kingdom were only second-tier nations, far weaker than Jin State of the Mountain Sitting Guest. Above them were first-class nations such as Tianmu Kingdom, which possessed a sector beast. However, even these powerful nations were overshadowed by the two supreme ancient countries, the Flame Wind ancient country and the Thunder ancient country. Through the inherited information, Luo Feng learned that the strongest force within the Flame Wind ancient country was its imperial clan. The clan was divided into 13 competing branches, each qualified to fight for the throne, and Emperor Chu's lineage was one of them. Realizing the extraordinary status of the Flame Wind Pavilion Master, Luo Feng politely addressed Emperor Chu Yu as, Your Highness. But Chu Yu modestly refused, saying that as an eternal true god he was not worthy of such a title and that Luo Feng could simply call him Chu Yu. Unlike many imperial clan descendants, Chu Yu looked down on those without strength and saw the fierce competition among the 13 branches as a way to eliminate the incompetent. Chu Yu praised Luo Feng for being able to kill Shui Yun. Recognizing that his godly body, realm, and spiritual will had all reached an extremely high level, he stated that if Luo Feng could comprehend the primal chaos laws and become a law lineage primal chaos overlord, he would recommend him to become a guest elder of Emperor Chu's lineage. Luo Feng was surprised because he understood how strict the two ancient countries were in selecting guest elders. Even his master, Mountain Sitting Guest, had never been accepted into their core despite being a godly king. Chu Yu explained that he valued Luo Feng not merely for his strength but for his character. During Luo Feng's more than 20 years in Huyang City, Chu Yu had witnessed his compassion toward the weak, his hatred for evil, and his loyalty to friends, especially his relentless pursuit of Yushin Shu, Yushin Yi, and Shui Yun to avenge Shang Tianyan. In the dangerous land of origin, many talented experts were selfish and ruthless, so Chu Yu considered Luo Feng someone worthy of trust and friendship. Nevertheless, Chu Yu emphasized that the recommendation would only be possible after both of them reached the law lineage primal chaos realm. The deputy pavilion master also advised Luo Feng not to become completely tied to Yu Kingdom, as remote nations had limited opportunities. Chu Yu revealed that even the monarch of Yu country was merely a guest elder of the Flame Wind ancient country. While the master of Shi Kingdom had gained favor from the high-level figures of the Flame Wind ancient country because of his exceptional culinary skills, this hidden relationship surprised Luo Feng, as his intelligence had never recorded it. After Luo Feng departed, the deputy pavilion master asked Chu Yu why he was recruiting him so early. Chu Yu explained that once he became a primal chaos overlord and received full support from his clan, he would no longer have the freedom to search for suitable assistance. He was confident because he had already mastered all 9 primal chaos realm techniques recorded in the secret tome and felt close to fully comprehending the complete primal chaos laws. The deputy pavilion master was delighted, knowing that an imperial clan member with an unlimited godly body who became a law lineage primal chaos overlord would receive immense resources from the clan. Back at Primal Chaos Armor Cave Mansion No. 913, Moyu Qingyan waited anxiously and suspected that Luo Feng was responsible for the deaths of Yushin Shu, Yushin Yi, and Shui Yun. When Luo Feng and Morosa returned, Luo Feng instructed him to reject all visitors except a few important guests. Morosa directly confirmed that Luo Feng had killed all 3 enemies and that the news would soon spread throughout Huyang City. Moyu Qingyan felt honored to serve such a powerful master, but Morosa reminded him to focus on his cultivation and master the 10 fundamental laws. Luo Feng then entered seclusion with Morosa inside the Star Tower. He gave Morosa all the corpses of the eternal true gods they had obtained, allowing him to devour them. Morosa was especially excited about the bodies of Yushin Shu, whose extraordinary bloodline gave him a godly body comparable to an unlimited godly body. And Shui Yun, whose corpse was even more beneficial. He believed this unprecedented feast could allow him to reach the primal chaos realm. Luo Feng reflected that Morosa's growth speed was astonishing and might even surpass his own path to the primal chaos realm. Unlike Morosa, ordinary cultivators had to slowly accumulate their understanding of the primal chaos laws, including talents such as Emperor Chu Yu. Luo Feng then turned his attention to his spiritual will. Even when he was still a true god, his will had already reached the peak level of a primal chaos overlord. After becoming an eternal true god, his soul and godly body had greatly strengthened. Although he had practiced the Great Destruction heart refining technique and the 7 emotions heart refining technique from the Lai Yuan technique for more than 20 years, his will had only progressed gradually and had yet to undergo the qualitative transformation needed to reach the godly king level. With the huge rewards from the bounty and spoils of war totaling nearly 30 million cosmic sand, together with the resources provided by Shang Tianyuan, Luo Feng possessed over 30 million cosmic sand in wealth. He decided to spend these resources on treasures specifically designed to temper spiritual will and transform his wealth into real power. Meanwhile, in a secluded hall within Lu Yin primal chaos state of the Shi kingdom, Marquis Lu Yin learned of the deaths of Yushin Shu, Yushin Yi, and Shui Yun. He realized that Luo Feng's righteous personality and hatred of evil made him impossible to manipulate for his own purposes. While contemplating this, he held a crystal sphere containing a complete universe created by a godly king, where countless creatures lived and cultivated. He enjoyed controlling the evolution of the universe and the lives within it as a method of cultivating his spiritual will. Understanding that Luo Feng's presence in Huyang City had disrupted his original plans, Marquis Lu Yin decided to give up part of Huyang City's resources and instead allow the Heart Shadow sect to make the next move. In the Shi Kingdom's Lu Yin City, within the massive stronghold of the Heart Shadow sect, the sect master, a three-eyed man in gray robes, looked into the night sky with sorrow. Although the land of origin was boundless, there was no place left for the Heart Shadow sect to establish itself. Every valuable territory had already been occupied by powerful nations, ancient natives, great clans, and other major forces. The Heart Shadow sect only needed a large city as its foundation. But every primal chaos prefecture already had its own rulers, making it impossible to acquire one peacefully. The sect's survival depended on being near a primal chaos ruins, where disciples had a chance to reach the primal chaos realm. Furthermore, maintaining a large number of disciples required the endless resources provided by a large city. Without a stable foundation, the Heart Shadow sect continued to weaken, with many disciples leaving over time. As the current sect master, the three-eyed man only commanded less than 20% of the disciples that existed during the sect's golden age. The Heart Shadow sect had once been a glorious force founded by a godly king. After the godly king's death, the sect still possessed 3 primal chaos overlords, but one was killed while the other 2 fled due to a powerful enemy. Without the protection of primal chaos realm experts, the sect gradually fragmented, and many branches separated and created their own independent factions. The remaining Heart Shadow sect could only survive under the protection of Marquis Lu Yin, one of the 5 strongest primal chaos realm experts in the Shi kingdom. Even the sect's powerful enemy did not dare challenge Marquis Lu Yin and could only tolerate the existence of the remaining disciples. At that moment, Marquis Lu Yin appeared before the sect master and revealed that although he could not secure a large city for the Heart Shadow sect within the Shi kingdom, he was now offering them an opportunity to gain their own territory. He ordered the Heart Shadow sect to assist him in attacking the neighboring Zhujiang Primal Chaos Prefecture and seize Huyang City and Suyin City. Zhujiang City itself was not a target because it was where Marquis Zhujiang resided. The sect master worried that Marquis Zhujiang might personally intervene, but Marquis Lu Yin assured him that he would provide a space-time treasure that would allow him to arrive instantly and face Marquis Zhujiang himself. He explained that the Shi kingdom and Yu kingdom had a long-standing understanding. Eternal true gods could fight each other, but primal chaos overlords would not easily interfere because both nations were powerful states with deep connections to the flame-wind ancient country. Breaking these rules would carry an enormous cost. Marquis Lu Yin was even looking forward to Marquis Zhujiang making a move, as he had confidence in his own strength. He instructed the Heart Shadow sect to carefully study the intelligence of Zhujiang Primal Chaos Prefecture, especially information concerning an eternal true god named Lord Luohe. As a reward, Marquis Lu Yin promised that if the Heart Shadow sect successfully captured Huyang City and Suyan City, Huyang City would become the sect's foundation. The sect would only need to hand over 20% of the citizens' residence fees to Marquis Lu Yin and another 20% to the God Kings every century, while keeping the remaining 60% and managing the city independently without interference from the royal capital. The sect master was extremely excited because possessing a large city would provide endless resources and allow the Heart Shadow sect to restore its former strength. However, he understood that the campaign would be difficult, as Marquis Zhu Yang's eternal true gods and elite forces were formidable. He decided to recall the disciples who had left so that the Heart Shadow sect would have enough strength to overwhelm their enemies and avoid suffering severe losses. After leaving, Marquis Lu Yin considered that the Heart Shadow sect, despite its decline, was still a sect founded by a godly king and still had 2 primal chaos realm experts in hiding. With deep roots and influence, he believed they had a good chance of taking Zhujiang Primal Chaos Prefecture. To him, even if many Heart Shadow sect disciples died during the conflict, it was an acceptable price. Meanwhile, in Huyang City, Luo Feng remained inside Cave Mansion 913 of the Primal Chaos Armor Sector. Although the mansion itself was ordinary, it had become one of the most prestigious places in the city after Luo Feng's achievements. Many visitors came hoping to meet him, but none were allowed to enter. Inside the Star Tower's underground hall, Morosa continued to absorb and digest a godly body, while Luo Feng gathered intelligence through the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall. He compared this information with the inheritances of the God King Jin lineage and the Duan Dong River lineage to determine which treasures would be most useful for his cultivation. Luo Feng knew that his understanding of the primal chaos laws still required more time, but his willpower was approaching a breakthrough. To increase his ability to survive future dangers, he decided to purchase a treasure specifically designed for training willpower. However, treasures suitable for someone whose willpower had already reached the peak of the primal chaos overlord level were extremely expensive. After careful research, Luo Feng selected the Calamity Beast diagram, a treasure personally painted by an ancient being of the Flame Wind ancient country. The Dark Hall warned him that even viewing a small corner of the diagram required primal chaos realm level willpower. Anyone weaker would immediately fall into madness. Despite the danger, Luo Feng insisted on purchasing it. The Calamity Beast diagram cost 15 million cosmic sand and would be delivered within 10 days after payment. Although the price caused Luo Feng great pain, it was actually considered one of the most cost-effective treasures for primal chaos overlords, ranking among the top 3 in value and being the cheapest among them. More powerful treasures could cost over 100 million cosmic sand, something ordinary primal chaos overlords could afford through the constant income of their territories. Compared to them, Luo Feng realized that his own wealth was still far too limited, and the Calamity Beast diagram was the best willpower cultivation treasure he could currently afford. Meanwhile, under the cover of night, an envoy from Marquis Zhujiang arrived in Huyang City. The envoy was Zhang Yuyu, a white-haired youth personally sent by Marquis Zhujiang, showing how much importance the Marquis placed on meeting Lord Luohe. After arriving, Zhang Yuyu learned from his elder brother that Luo Feng had returned to his cave mansion after collecting the rewards for killing Yushin Shu, Yushin Yi, and Shui Yun, and since then had refused all visitors. Zhang Yuyu was confident that, as the representative of Marquis Zhujiang, he would be granted an audience. To avoid any embarrassment, his elder brother arranged for Moyu Hu to contact his son Moyu Qingyan first to confirm that Luo Feng would accept their visit before they approached the cave mansion.